What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to get back to work on our 1965 Ford Mustang. As you guys see in the previous episode, we pretty much got the entire front of the car nice and painted in with some undercoat, so it's going to protect it from rusting, and it just looks a lot better than what it did. But before we get started with today's video, it's sponsored by Holley. So as you guys know, we are running a Coyote 5.0 engine in our 1965 Ford Mustang, and one of the issues I did run into was engine management. I was planning at first to basically use a factory ECU with all the factory wiring harnesses, and then you send them out to a company and they splice everything up and basically make your car run on a switch, which seems like a good idea, but it's a lot more complicated. I kind of wanted to go with the simpler route. That's why we hit up Holley and got the Terminator X system. This thing is freaking awesome. I've seen a lot of good reviews on it. It's super easy to install, especially with all the wiring that comes in the kit. So we have our coil harness right here. We also have our injector harnesses right here. Everything is labeled, so it's a super easy installation. And I also love how everything's super high quality. Everything is taped up, ready to go. And those are those two harnesses right there. And then we also have our main harness right here. Everything is perfectly labeled, which is gonna be a super easy install. And another cool thing I like about the Terminator X system is the boost line right here. We're simply gonna tap this in after the throttle body. So once we go to tune this car, it's gonna be a lot easier than using the factory ECU. And check out how much bulkier. This thing is so much bigger and looks so much uglier than the Terminator X system right there. It's gonna fit nicely underneath the dash, simply just gonna bolt in just like that right there. And then we also have our oxygen sensor right here, which we definitely are gonna have to use. Because if you know anything about tuning, this is one of the most important parts of tuning a car, because we are planning on doing a turbocharger on this car, which is going to be sweet. And it also comes with this little display right here, which you can change settings. You can upload tunes directly onto your car, which is super easy. It would be so much harder if we ran the original ECU kind of ordeal. Not only does Holley offer engine management for these Coyotes, they also offer fuel pumps. This is the inline fuel pump. Since we did go with the fuel cell, this thing is 200 LPH. It's gonna give us more than enough fuel than we need to power our Coyote 5.0 engine, and it is a double pumper. So you have two pumps inside here and then one in and out line, which is gonna be super easy to wire up and hook up on the bottom of our car. So if you're looking to get some engine management for your car, definitely check out Holley. I'll drop some links down below to the Holley Terminator X if you're looking to power your Coyote engine, or if you're looking to power your LS engine. Holley has thousands of aftermarket parts for pretty much any car, anything you could possibly want. Definitely check them out, and thanks to Holley for sponsoring today's video. So guys, before we can install this beautiful Holley Terminator X system, we are gonna have to finish up some stuff in the back over here. So as you guys know, we got the entire front end all painted up. Now we need to finish up the rear end. So we're gonna go ahead and knock this out real quick. We need to do a little bit of welding right here. We need to finish welding the subframe connector. I actually couldn't weld it because the leaf spring was right there in the way. So we're gonna do some grinding right there, weld that up, and then basically clean up the entire bottom of this car. We can just spray it all in with some undercoating and it'll be good to go to install our fuel system. So the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and weld up these subframe connectors, grind everything up, cut off all these excess metal here in the back, make everything look good, and then we can wire roll everything and paint it in with some undercoat. So there we have it. Everything is nice and painted in with some undercoating, and man, it looks really good under here actually. Took a lot of time to wire wheel most of it, and I also went ahead and scraped everything down with a wire wheel, and then we cleaned everything off and got it sprayed in. But it looks absolutely beautiful under here. So now that all the undercoating is nice and dry underneath the car, we're gonna go ahead and install our Holley fuel pump. This thing is gonna be super easy to install. We got 4 bolts right here, nice solid aluminum. So all we're gonna have to do right now is find a good area to put it under here. And honestly, I'm just thinking probably right here on the side, and then we can just run a 90-degree bend right here and another 90, and we'll have our super short fuel line right there. And then it flows this way, so then we can just make our fuel lines go straight to the front. So let's go ahead and grab our drill and drill some holes and get this fuel pump mounted up. So check it out, we got the fuel pump nice and mounted on, and look at this. We have a perfect straight shot from this A and fitting directly to this one right here. Just gonna be one nice line right there. We also kind of just use self-tappers just for now, just so we can drill a hole in there and have the tank mounted up there. And I also ran out of drill bits, and self-tappers actually work pretty good to just make the first hole, and then we can go in with the step drill bit and make the hole bigger. But check out how I did the wiring right here. We sent the wiring through there. I think we will tape all this up. I just wanted to see how this grommet right here would work. And honestly, it looks super clean and nice. And I think it's a perfect area for this tank. I actually seen a lot of people mount their fuel pumps right underneath their tank right here, which we don't really want it inside. But now what we're gonna do is go ahead and make the fuel line that comes from here to the fuel tank. So guys, I went ahead and bolted down the tank, and then we also put some nice bolts into the fuel pump right here with washers, and it is nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. And I also made this little tube right here. I am also gonna have to order another inline filter that's gonna go right here. The one I have is a little bit too big and bulky, so we're gonna have another one right here, somehow like that. And I also need some AN tools, because as you can see, I was using a vice grip and a adjustable wrench, and it's kind of messing up my AN fittings, and I don't really like that. Definitely got to order some of those. Now what we're gonna do is basically make our line that goes from the fuel pump all the way to the front of the engine. That's gonna come out right here. So let's go ahead and get some fuel lines and get them put on here. So we got the fuel line ran all the way to the front. Unfortunately, these are the only clamps I have, and this is basically just to hold 2 lines together. So we're actually gonna have to make a run to the store, and I think we're gonna simply go just like that right there, and then this fuel line is gonna come all the way to the front. I know the factory one was on this side right here, but we're gonna switch it up just a little bit and run it on the passenger side, because we don't like the way Ford builds vehicles, stuff like that. So we're just gonna go ahead and go to O'Reilly's, and I think we can just grab this and bring it over there, and hopefully they'll have something similar like this right along this subframe connector right here, and then it will go. There is enough clearance right here. I did measure with the transmission brace, so it'll sneak right there. So let's head on over to O'Reilly's and see if we can find the right clamps. unfortunately, O'Reilly's did not have any fuel line clamps like the ones we need. I mean, they have oil and they loan tools, but they don't have any of those clamps. I think we're gonna head to Harbor Freight. They have a lot of clamps and stuff like that. So let's head over there. So guys, unfortunately, Harbor Freight didn't have any, but we couldn't let a Harbor Freight run go to waste. So we also picked up a new spray gun because mine was going bad, because I might have left some primer in there. But that's all good. We're gonna head back to the shop, and I think we'll have to just order some. I'll probably use those ones that I have right now as a temporary solution or figure something out. So let's head back to the shop and we'll figure something out. So guys, we were back at the shop, and basically what I'm gonna do right now is just zip tie this fuel line on for now with some zip ties to this subframe connector. And then later I did go ahead and order some off eBay, some nice clamps. Once those come in, we'll finalize all that up. But let's go ahead and clamp all this up and see how everything lines up. So guys, we got the fuel line temporarily mounted in there, and I did give it enough slack right here so that once we do get our new clamps, we can simply bolt everything down. And check that out, it's just gonna go nice along the subframe connector right here, and then it's gonna go all the way up right here, and basically needs to come out like somewhere right here, and then we can plug it up to the fuel injector. So let's go ahead and lower this car down, and I think we're gonna go ahead and start on our engine. So guys, here's our Coyote engine, and before we can install any of the Holley stuff, we are gonna have to do a little bit of work to this engine. First of all, we're gonna have to get rid of this old wiring harness right here. We are not gonna be using any of the factory wiring harnesses on this engine. Everything is gonna be swapped out with the Holley Kit. And we're also gonna get rid of this right here. This is like a vacuum system that works these little valves right here. And it opens and closes valves inside the actual intake manifold. And since we are going with the Holley, we are not gonna be using any of that system. And we're also not gonna be using the evaporator system. So let's go ahead and dive right into this engine and start tearing it down. So guys, the first thing we're gonna do on this engine is pretty much to start tearing everything down. We're gonna get rid of a lot of the factory stuff actually. So we have our foam right here, and now we're gonna go ahead and just remove the entire factory engine harness off this engine. It's pretty simple, just a lot of plugs. So let's get straight to work. So we got everything off the Coyote engine that we did not need, and we did go ahead and order a little bracket right here. There's a company that actually sells them, and pretty much it goes in the stock location right here, and it's gonna lock this wide open, so we're not gonna have any issues with those valves in the back. And I don't even think our Holley system is gonna need any of that right there, or we can just have it tuned out. Now the Holley system does use all the factory original sensors, all like these right here. This is the temperature sensor, then you have the transmission speed sensor right there, and then we also have our, I guess these are crank sensors right there on the side. So now let's go ahead and install this engine back inside the car, and then we can fully wire everything up and install the wiring. car. And the first thing we are going to install is this little adapter right here. This actually goes onto the fuel line just like that right there. And bam, it basically converts the fuel line into an AN fitting. And I did actually buy this fitting right here, but I think I need to convert a 6 AN to a 10 AN, which that's what our fuel line is. Or maybe I just need to change the fuel line. I don't know if that fuel line is too thick. I did talk to a guy and he said you'd probably want to run a 10 AN since we are going to be doing a little bit of boost with this car and you'd want to have more fuel, but I'm not too sure on that. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to just buy an adapter from a 6 AN to a 10 AN, or I think I actually ordered one off Amazon, but it just never came in or something like that. Not too sure what happened there, but I guess we'll have to just order one there. But now what we're gonna do is go ahead and start installing our Holley kit. So guys, we're gonna go ahead and start installing our Holley wiring harness. I already took it apart and I checked which one this one is. And this is the main harness right here. And this is the one we're gonna install first. And this is gonna have all the sensor plugs that go on in the back. So let's go ahead and get this wiring harness installed on the car. So we're basically just gonna go ahead and start laying out the wiring harness first. And as you can see, this is the knock sensor. That's kind of what we're gonna start off with because it's right here in the back, just like this right here. All right, we got the first one hooked up. We went ahead and hooked up the knock sensor. Now we're gonna keep on going, hooking up all the crank sensors. Those right here. It's super cool how everything is labeled, so it's a pretty easy installation actually. Main harness, we went ahead and plugged it up. We got our one camshaft sensor. It's the only camshaft sensor plug that's on this main harness right here, because there's a whole nother wiring harness for the camshaft setup over there on the table. And then we have our crankshaft sensor hooked up, and our I guess that's the heat sensor right there. Temperature sensor is plugged up. So everything is plugged up on this main harness. Now what we're gonna do is go ahead and throw on the injector harness and the coil pack harnesses and plug them into this main harness. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and plug in our injectors. Simply pop them on, clip it in. I love how easy and simple this whole installation is. We got the passenger side on right there. We got one last one back there, all clipped in, nice and in place. Now let's do the driver's side over here. And there we have it, guys. All the injectors are hooked up. Now let's do the coil pack. So guys, I was just about to plug up the coil pack harness and it turns out we did get the wrong harness. I guess I selected the wrong one, but I already contacted Holley. They're gonna have a new one shipped out right away. So it's gonna hold us back just a little bit, but you know, it's all good. What we're gonna do right now is actually go ahead and install our camshaft harness right here. Or this is for all the camshaft sensors. So let's go ahead and get this on the engine. So we're gonna go ahead and install our cam sensor harness. Super simple. This is the passenger side is bank one, so we're going to install the exhaust cam shaft sensor first. Then we have the intake sensor. So guys, check it out. We got the engine management on the car. We haven't decided how we're gonna put it in the dashboard or leave it out here, which we're gonna do a little bit of thinking on that. We got the fuel system basically all plumbed up. We have to order a couple more things to get that 100%, but hopefully we'll be able to get this thing started this week. We are also gonna go ahead and order a fuel pressure sensor that's going to go right here. It's like an adapter that bolts into the AN fitting, and then fuel pressure right there, because we definitely want to have our fuel pressure. And then we'll have our oil pressure line down here, which we do have to replace our oil pressure switch because it kind of got broken off. And then put some gas in this thing and some oil, and we can fire this Coyote up finally, guys. We also have the rear forelink on order. We're also getting a rear axle. So hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have this car at least driving. Hopefully we can do that. Maybe we won't But if you guys enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're making a little bit of progress on the Mustang. We're getting the main components out of the way. But if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also, if you're looking for some performance parts, head over to Holley.com. Thanks for watching.